All right, it's Monday, December 2nd. I'm recharged, excited, doing some things different. So thank you guys for being here. This is the RAMZPAUL show. We do this at 8 p.m. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Notice I didn't say Wednesday. Wednesday, I'm planning I'm trying to resurrect Happy Homelands. We will see. We will see. So I think I got someone to work with me on this Wednesday. So I'll give you more details in a bit. So I'm excited. I did it wasn't a video. I've been writing essays more on my Substack and Gumroad. And I did one last week called Reinvention. And I think it's always important to keep things fresh and do different things. So I kind of look what I'm doing, and I want to do what I really enjoy doing. I like writing, so I'm going to write more. I like my short videos. I really miss those, so I'm going to be doing my short videos more. And I love my streaming, but I want to do it in a little bit different way. Like if you saw it today, I have 5 topics I'm going to go over. And I think it's going to be more fun, at least for me, and it's my show, right? So versus, I used to basically go through Twitter and get all the news for the day and then go over the news. And it's okay. I enjoyed it. But then I started to think, well, if you want to watch the news or know what happens on the news, just be on Twitter, right? You follow me there. And then you could get my commentary with that. And it's okay, but it started, I thought, get a little stale. So I decided to change it up. I want to get into the Happy Homelands more. So I'm going to try that Wednesday. Friday nights, my night owls with Sasha. I really love that show more than ever. It's great to have Sasha on because she brings a different perspective. She's not so heavy in everything. She's engaged with a lot of the movies. We go to the movies all the time together. We saw Gladiator 2. It was a fun movie. It really was. And we'll talk about that on Night Owls. So Night Owls, yeah, that's going to be continuing. And I'm still going to do my RAMZPAUL show. But I thought instead of just doing like everything that's in the news, I was just going to pick like 5 topics. And we'll discuss those 5 topics. However, if you want to bring up something else, you could just send in a super chat or a rant on Rumble or a power chat. I really do appreciate those. And well, I'll discuss that too. So I don't know how long it'll be to get through 5 topics. maybe 10 minutes. I don't know. Maybe 3 hours. So whatever it is, I'm not going to put myself a time limit on it. And it depends on the interaction. So another advantage is I want to list what I'm going to talk about. So if you're like, oh, that's gay, I don't want to listen to that, you don't have to show up for the day. So check that out. So I've kind of got a burst of energy, and I'm enjoying writing my essays on Substack. I want to do a lot of them for free, so you don't even have to pay for the Substack. I will have a special, just member-only articles every once in a while. Same with my videos. My videos are mostly free, but I will do special videos for my supporters. And I do, for my supporters, we have the roundtable, and we do it every Sunday now. I think I'm going to just do it on one time at noon because it's good for Europeans. This is a lot of fun. We had a great session last Sunday, really good time, and it's a way to build a community. So there's a lot of different pieces in this puzzle, and I want to do what I enjoy, because if I don't really enjoy it, I think the audience will see it, right? If you're doing something because you feel like you have to do it, I think that comes across like, I'm getting kind of stale with this. And I was getting a little tired just going through all the news of the day. Oh, here's Trump's pick for the CIA. Oh, look at the left hate him. Oh, isn't he great? Based, whatever. I think we've been all through that. At least I have. I'm at the age I don't want to do that anymore. I just want to have fun with my stuff. And so that's going to be the format here. And I hope you guys like it. I think I will like it. So we'll just have a lot of fun. Any feedback I get or super chats, we'll go over that too. It's been real cold here. We're in a cold front here in Arkansas. It's supposed to get real cold tonight. So trying to keep warm. Got my space heater on, but I like this time of year. Christmas shopping. I've already started my Christmas shopping early this year. I don't know if you guys have. A lot of stuff to do, but it's a fun time. We got the tree up, and it should be a lot of fun. So it's good to see all you guys here. All right. Let's just get into the topics I was going to talk about. And I want to go, and when I just have 5 topics, allows me to go more in depth too, right? Instead of just reading the topic, we can get into it. The big news, obviously, that happened, which you guys probably seen. So, Hunter Biden was given a pardon and is absolved of all alleged crimes from 2014 through 2024. That's pretty cool. I wish I had a dad like that. I wish part of what he's absolved of, everyone gets really confused because I saw these shit libs like, oh, so many of us have members in our family that are impacted by drugs. We should have compassion on poor Hunter. And they treat Hunter, I don't know if you've noticed this, like he's 14 years old. Have you seen that? It's really weird. The guy's in his 50s. I think he can apply to the Retirement Association. What is that? Or the American Retired Association? He is old enough to apply for that. I think he's old enough to get a discount at McDonald's. How old is Hunter Biden? I'm going to look this up here. Biden, because I think he's got to be in his 50s, right? He's 54. 54. That means next February he'll be 55 and he'll get the senior discount at McDonald's. When I hit that, I was excited. You get a nickel off your cup of coffee. So Hunter Biden now can get a nickel off of his cup of coffee next February. So the point is, he's not like a baby, and they treat him like he's a little kid or something. And his crime wasn't like, oh, he got busted smoking weed, we should not throw the book at him. That wasn't at all. What he was convicted of is number one is he lied on the form. When you, I guess, purchase a gun, which I haven't done for years. When I bought a gun, you didn't do anything. No background checks, nothing. You just bought the gun. They're all gone now, though. All my guns are gone now. I guess if any of the Firearms Bureau watching, they're all gone. But it was, you just get a gun. Or I got some from my dad or whatever. But now I guess you got to fill out a form. And you got to have the question, are you like a drug addict? Like, who's going to say yes on that? It doesn't even make sense, some of these forms. Like, yeah, I'm honest. I'm a drug addict. Because you can't buy a gun, I guess, if you're a drug addict. And so Hunter Biden, though, he lied on the form. He said he didn't use drugs. And then the infamous Hunter Biden laptop that everyone was saying, oh, that's Putin propaganda. Remember that? And there he is. He decides he has to take photos of himself, looking like some black gangster, when they have the money and they have their hands weird and they have their gun pointed weird and they have their drugs. Hunter Biden had to do that thing. So that didn't really work out well because there was photographic evidence of him having a gun with drugs, which I don't even understand the thought process. Why do you do that? Does that try to make you look cool? I would think there's some things you need to keep like on a down low, right? So I'm not even a big fan of people that just wave around their guns on social media. I don't think, if you do that, that's fine. It's not my thing. I think it should be a little bit more confidential, but some people do that. But if you're going to wave around a gun while you're showing illegal drugs, I mean, what's the thought process there? I really don't understand that. Who is he trying to impress? His prostitutes? I don't think he was trying to impress them. He was buying them. So I'm not really quite sure what it is. He's feeling like a bad boy. So there was evidence, his own photos on the laptop, that he had drugs, illegal drugs with guns. So he got convicted of that. So when people are saying, oh, we just have to be sorry for him. Well, well, how about this? Are you saying that it should be okay? But the big one is he decided for like years just not to pay taxes because why I kind of like that attitude. I wish I could be like that. Just take 4 years to say fuck it, I'm not paying taxes. And it's not like I don't make a lot of money, but he was making lots of money, millions of dollars, because he had that phony job in Ukraine, Burmisa, I think it was called, right? And that was a state energy firm, the gas firm in Ukraine. And they decided, like, okay, we need someone on their board of directors. And I've never been in the energy field, but I would think, let's get some headhunters out there. Let's find someone that really understands energy, maybe in the global marketplace, that's been very successful in business. And that's the person we want to get on our board, I would think. But Ukraine was, no. You know who we want? A guy that's never really had a job, that's a drug addict. That's the guy we want. That's the guy we want. Hunter Biden, it's just coincidence. He's related to the vice president because Joe was vice president at the time. Just coincidence. This is what we're looking for. We're looking for a drug out guy, drunk, that hasn't done shit his whole life except fuck up. That's who we want on the board of directors. So they hired him, and it's one of those jobs. You don't even have to show up. You don't even have to come to Kyiv. All you have to do is if we, maybe if we have some favors from your daddy. But anyway, we'll pay you, I don't know, lots of money he got paid for that. So unless you're stupid, right? You guys understand that was a bribe. Joe Biden was selling influence through his son. And then they set it up like these millions of LLCs to try to hide all the transactions. God, try to untangle that would take forever. And, Hunter, he's a drug addict. He didn't put that together. And Joe's senile. He couldn't do that. So they had their lawyers trying to hide everything. So they put together all these shell companies so they could pass, honestly, bribes to Joe and his family. And so Hunter, he was a drug addict, but Ukraine decided to put him on the board of directors. What? No experience, no problems. We'll take you. And it was a no-show job. He didn't have to go to work or anything. Okay, Hunter, you got to fill out your status report for the week. What did you accomplish this week? And what are your objectives for next week? And here's a timesheet. You have to log where you worked all the week, right? And then, Hunter have to say, oh, I want to have next week off. Can I have vacation time to see my grandma? I don't think that was the case, right? No. So it was just a fake job he had. But even through all the fake job, he owed like $1.9 million in taxes. So he had to have made a lot of money if he owed that much in taxes. But does Hunter have to pay his taxes? No, that's not how the Bidens run. That's for you, not them. Fuck taxes. He's not paying taxes. He just didn't even bother to file. And then he had all these bogus deductions. What? I can't deduct hooker expenses? What are you talking about? I thought this was America. And remember Hunter, we even had a Arkansas connection. He came down here in Arkansas and fucked some stripper, and she got pregnant. He goes, I don't know who she is. That's not my kid. Then they did a DNA test. Oh yeah, I guess it is. I forgot about that. So yeah, Joe Biden has like a grandson or granddaughter. I forget what it is, but he doesn't even recognize that kid. Poor kid. So this is Hunter Biden. So he didn't pay his taxes. And usually, if you don't pay taxes for $1.9 million, you're facing serious jail time. And the IRS said, it wasn't like, oh my God, I'm just, poor Hunter. I'm just trying to get by. I'm just trying to get, something to eat. I'm just underwater. I would love to pay my taxes, but I have nothing. No. No. That wasn't the case with Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden was blowing money on hookers, fancy cars, vacations. He was living the good life. Like, I ain't gonna pay taxes. I want to buy prostitutes. I want to buy whores. And so he was spending his money on that instead of his taxes. And believe me, I don't think we should have income tax. I would like to see it get rid of. But Hunter got, so part of the pardon had to do with this. So it was really corrupt. I mean, I was like, okay, can we all get pardoned? I would like to not pay taxes. I'm sure you guys would too. Hey, fuck it, we're not going to pay taxes. Let's pardon us. Hey, Biden, give us a blanket pardon to all of America not paying taxes. No, that'd be hateful. So all the people defending him, just understand that's what he was convicted of. And that's not even the real juicy stuff. Because you notice Biden put the pardon from 2014, not 2018, because all this horrors, not paying taxes, lying on his application to get a gun. And why did he need a gun? He's like the vice president's son. Is he trying to be gangster or something? I have no idea. He wanted to do the photos of him doing that. I'm blowing cocaine off this hooker's ass and I have my Glock with me. And I'm like, how old are you? You're like in your 40s or 50s? I mean, this guy, he's ready to, join the seniors club and he's doing all this. So, but it didn't even cover just that. He brought it back to 2014 Biden. And that's the real serious crime that was in the laptop that Hunter Biden, because he's drugged out of his mind, left in Delaware. He left a laptop that showed it showed him his drug using. That he got busted for that with a gun. Another thing showed he had a lot of income he didn't declare and he owed taxes and he just blew them off. That was shown. That wasn't even from the laptop. But the big thing in the laptop that the senators have seen it, and this is a real serious part, is the bribery thing that happened with Ukraine. And Ukraine is dirty, dirty, dirty. It's the most corrupt country in Europe. Remember with that Zelensky dictator, he came to the United States to beg for some more money because we just give him endless money. He brought his wife. And when his wife was in the United States, she was in New York City because he was going to address the UN, beg for money. She went out shopping. And, most people, if they go out shopping, they spend a couple $100 and like, whoa, you really had a shopping spree. No, not Zelensky's wife. She spent $1 million on jewelry. And he doesn't get that much in his salary, Zelensky. So where in the hell is this money coming from? Ukraine's a poor country. It's so corrupt, right? They're so corrupt. That was your tax dollars at work. So all sorts of corruption in that country. And a lot of politicians were laundering money, including the Bidens, it looks like, in Ukraine. And they weren't the only ones. Ukraine is dirtier than we realize. A lot of the reason for the war with Russia wasn't just about trying to attack Russia because we want to defeat Putin. So Moscow, we can have our gay pride parades and BlackRock can buy all the property and sell it to their friends. Oh, that's part of it. But a lot of the issue is there's been a lot of dirt going on in Ukraine by our sleazy politicians. A lot of it illegal. And again, they've set this up very complicated with their LLCs to hide their money. And Joe was in the middle of all this. And so part of the Ukrainian war with Russia and their antagonism they had with Russia has to do with this. Because remember, in 2014 is when I consider the war really started in Ukraine. That's when the neocons, Victoria Nuland, remember her, that fat bitch that she worked for the State Department under Obama. They worked to overthrow the president of Ukraine, who at the time wasn't Zelensky. It was the guy that was friendly with Russia. But we can't have that. So our CIA, Victoria Nuland, Soros, they did one of their color revolutions. And they did a coup, basically. And a lot of it had to do with money, and they can launder money. So this is all very corrupt. So this pardons, the reason Joe did this from 2014 wasn't so much Hunter Biden's lying on his application that he wasn't on drugs. He was. And it wasn't so much of his tax evasion, which I guess he doesn't have to pay now. That must be nice, right? $1.9 million you just blow off. It really wasn't that. It was deeper than that. It was the whole corruption in the Biden family. And not just Biden. I think a lot of Democrats and probably some Republicans were wetting their beak in Ukraine. And that is something that we really need to audit where our money was going. Because, all the billions of dollars we sent to Ukraine, I don't think we should send a dime, even if it was all going to weapons. But the dirty little secret is a big percentage of that money did not go to weapons or to the soldiers. It was going to the officials, their retirement funds, their offshore accounts, extremely corrupt. I would like to see that whole thing audited, what happened to our money we sent to Ukraine. And I guarantee you will see massive, massive corruption. And some of this corruption points back to Hunter Biden, and it points back to Joe Biden, and probably other Democrats, and maybe some Republicans too. So they are very nervous about Trump and everything being looked at. They're like, some things are better just not looked at. So Biden is trying to protect his son. Who knows? Maybe he'll issue more pardons based on the corruption they engaged in Ukraine. So huge story there. That was a big story. And I think that is something we will have to watch. So thank you for that on that. So that was the Hunter Biden thing. Okay, story 1. All right, story 2. We had this situation, and I've seen this quite a bit anymore. And I'm just getting tired of this. And we had I don't know if you guys see this. We just had some kid in a Walmart. And the mother is doing nothing. Like, don't yell at her. Let her tear apart the store. Let her tear apart the store. Boy, they start early, don't they? They start early. She's all ready for the next riot to go into the liquor store and loot it. I guess they trained him early. I am so tired of this. And in general, it's not even a specific race, although some races this happens a lot more in than others. But I'm tired of this breakdown and how parents now, they feel like they don't discipline their kids at all. When I was a kid, if I ever thought it, I wouldn't even think of doing that. But if I did that, and my parents, either my mother or father, would have took me by the arm, pulled me to the car, and I would have got the belt to my ass for doing that. I would have never done that again. And we have this whole generation now. Oh, you can't spank kids. You just got to let them run wild. And so we have these little savages that run wild, which it makes it miserable for the parents. It makes it miserable for everyone else. It makes it miserable it makes people hate kids, right? It used to be, kids used to be much better. They learned. Their parents taught them. And I think one of the huge mistakes was, and I guess I disagree with Stefan Molyneux, he was always anti-spanking your kids. But you need to spank them when they're little, when they're acting like this, because they're not going to respond to logic. And timeouts are dumb. And then what are you going to do with a timeout? Okay, your timeout. And they go, yeah, fuck you. I'm not going to do a timeout. Then what do you do? What do you do then? Well, obviously in my family, if I would have got my ass whooped. And so you need that. And I'm not saying you should abuse your kids or anything like that. But there's times, especially when they're little, you need to swat their butts. I did that with my kids when they're real young. And guess what? They were really good kids. Because when you start that early and just a few times, they understand that's where it could be. So you have you have respect from them. So usually you don't even have to go to that place. You can just give them a look. In other cultures, like the Asians, Japanese, and Koreans, Chinese, they don't let their kids run around like little monsters. And by the way, in the United States, we used to have our kids obey. They couldn't run around like little monsters, destroying things, screaming, carrying on. And yeah, that's a bad incident. But even when you go out to eat now, you have kids screaming, making a mess. It's like, no, when you're a kid, you need to be taught. You just talk when you're spoken to. You don't start blabbering about stuff. They have to understand the hierarchy. And that's not abuse. In fact, I would say it's abuse if you don't train your kid. All other animals, like lions and wolves, they train their pups or their cubs on how to behave. And a mother dog will nip the puppy if the puppy gets out of line. It's not to hurt the puppy, but it's to get the puppy in line. And that's our responsibility we have as parents. And to let your kid go run wild and be a monster, you're not helping the kid. You're not helping them later in life. One of the things when I was young, I was raised in a pretty, loving household. My parents, I miss them, and they loved me, but it was strict at times. And I was spanked, but it wasn't every time because, you get to the point you don't need it anymore. And I just wouldn't even think about doing shit like that. It just wouldn't even cross my mind. But the kids now are just monsters. It's like that episode of The Twilight Zone. Did you ever see that old one where everyone's scared of the kid because he has these superpowers to like melt the adults or something? He has telepathic powers. So everyone's trying to pacify the little monster. That's how I see modern parents now. They just seem like they're scared of the kids and they're trying to pacify these little monsters. And these kids, and I won't say names or anything, but Sasha's known, I've known. Kids just swear at their parents, say fuck you, tear things up, and that never should be tolerated. Not at all. But we have I don't know if it's a way of child bringing that, oh, these kids are so wonderful. We have to allow them to express themselves. I'm like, no, kids are evil. I'm more of Lord of the Flies. I remember when I was in school, kids aren't pure at heart. They're evil bastards that have no empathy or sympathy. They're little animals and they need to be civilized. That's the truth. They're not these pure creatures. And if you don't civilize your kids, you're just raising little monsters that are going to run into problems in life. Because one of the most important things you can do for a child is to teach them discipline, how to control their life, how to behave, how to do things not just because it's fun, but they need to do it. And I thank God the most important lessons I got when I was young. I had discipline. Then I went to a Christian school in the first part of elementary until about 5th grade. I went to it was called South Sheridan Baptist School at the time. I think it was named Silver State then. Now it's on Sheridan in Lakewood, Colorado. If you guys live in Colorado, I don't know if it's still there. But it was a very strict school. It's a Baptist school. And it was a really good education. They taught you all the fundamentals. But they also taught that you have to sit in your desk. If you have a question, you have to raise your hand. You can't just do a little monkey dance or anything like that. You had to behave yourself. And because of that discipline, it helps you later in life. And one of the things I really cringe at is these schools now, they don't put them in desks. Like you see your traditional classroom like years ago, everyone lined up. No. Now they just have tables. They don't do individual work. They do group work, which means nothing's really getting done. And half the kids are just goofing off. So they're not learning. That's one of the reasons test scores are so low. They don't learn any discipline. It's just all a fucking joke. This is where we are in America. And you see the result then. These kids, they don't know how to deal with themselves in life. And you see this with everything. Like you have now, when I was young, okay, you have to learn your multiple tables, right? And I'm like, well, it's not fun. Well, it doesn't matter if it's fun or not. You gotta do it. You gotta do your worksheets. Even though it's fun, it's not supposed to be fun. You gotta do the work. It's work. That's why they call it school work. And but now everything has to try to be fun for the kids, right? So when we gotta make science fun for kids. So they do stupid things to try to make it fun. And they're all prancing around thinking they're doing science. but mostly science is math, and it's really not that fun. But they don't do that because you never, oh no, the kids will get mad. We just have to make it all a game for them. So I don't think we're really helping our kids much. And just seeing that behavior, I know that was horrible. The little girl just trashing the store, but there's a lot of kids that act pretty close to that, and it's something that really needs to change. In that situation, the mother should have to pay damages to the store, and they should be banned from the store. It's like, you can't control your kid. You're not doing anything. You're actually encouraging her. You're out of the store. You can't come back until you learn how to act like a human being. If you want to act like an animal, go live in the street. But if you want to go into Walmart, you have to act somewhat like you're human. It's not a very high, the bar's not that high on behavior in Walmart, right? So if you can't do that, you're having problems there. So, yeah, that was, I think that was a pretty bad situation there. So, I would like to see a change in that. Hey, Dylan, thank you. $20. I breed rats. They just have babies. Mama rat grabs and snatches the babies if they get too far away. Human mothers care less often. Yeah, I think one of the most worst things that we've seen in child development, and I'll go with Stefan Molyneux because I always think of him, oh, anti-spanking. No, it's not bad to spank your kids. Yes, it's horrible to abuse your kids. You shouldn't leave welts. You shouldn't break their bones. You shouldn't give them a bloody nose. But I tell you what's real abuse is to promote LGBTQ shit. That is real abuse instead of spanking their ass. But disciplining the kids is, if you don't discipline the kids, you're abusing them. I really believe that. And it makes it so people don't want to be around you because they don't like your kids. Then the kids never have a chance. And as Dylan said, other animals correct their children. We should too. And I hate this child worship. I mean, I like kids, but they need to be trained. Without being trained, they're feral little monsters. That's all they are. I don't know. I remember that in the 80s or 90s, there's, oh, believe all children. I'm like, were you ever a child? You understand they just lie constantly? What are you talking about? And this is my memory, because you remember, I went to a Christian Baptist, almost all white school, right? And the girls wore dresses, the boys had to dress up. And they all pretty much had a mothers and fathers. And still, a lot of the kids were evil bastards that would pick on other kids, bully kids. Kids are a terror, and they need to be molded in a certain way. Some are naturally better than others, but this idea of worshiping kids, what the hell are you thinking? No. Dylan, they force you to lie for humiliation and fool you that you are a bad person. Yeah, that is something that the left does. And they go through their humiliation rituals. So thank you, Dylan. I really do appreciate that. And that was a super chat, and I do appreciate these super chats. So thank you so much. That was so good. And we have the power chats here too. So that was my commentary. My second story I was going to comment on the breakdown of civilization. All right, now we're going to go through our third topic I have all set up. And this became popular. And I don't really feel sorry for this woman. It was just well, I should back up. A lot of people, she's just a tip of the iceberg. She's kind of representative of something bigger that's happening in society. It was kind of like the Dylan Mulvaney, remember the Bud Light thing? It kind of just broke all the trans thing. We have something with credentialism that we see. And this is where what it used to be, if you went to college, you couldn't get into college unless you were smart, because they would just take like the top 20% of people in high school. Now they literally take everyone. If you have a mental problem and you're mentally slow, they will take you. It doesn't mean anything anymore to get in college. And now it even doesn't even mean anything to get a PhD, because usually it's just bullshit. And so a lot of these, and it's a lot of times women, that they're really big on credentials. They're really proud of their credentials, but they don't understand credentials only mean something if you had to really work or it was very difficult to get. So let's say years ago to become a medical doctor and you got your PhD, that was tough. That was something like, wow, most people can't do that. You have to be very smart. You have to be a hard worker. You got to put in the hours. Yeah, you should feel pride for doing something like that. Or let's say you're a PhD in physics. Man, you're fucking brilliant. And most people can't even get to that level, right? You should feel proud. But literally, you have all these fake PhDs now. And oh, I got one. I have a rant on credentialism, Brian. Woo. Okay, I'll get to that here in a little bit. And I want to show this story first because this is actually goes into what I was just talking about. So let's just take a look at that. And thank you, KMax, on that. And thank you guys for being here. I'm enjoying this new format. So I had a meeting. I had a team meeting, and I had someone take minutes, and it's me. We made a decision to do the show different this way. Based on what I did a lot of surveys and analysis. No, I didn't. I decided I want to do something different. All right. Home math. This woman is why everything is falling apart. And I'm sure she's a relatively nice woman, right? And she's really proud, thrilled to say I passed my her thesis with no corrections. I'm officially a PhD, right? And so now she calls herself doctor. It's kind of like Dr. Jill, Biden's wife. Unless you're a medical doctor, don't call yourself doctor. Don't. It's just embarrassing. It kind of insults, I think, medical doctors. It doesn't mean shit, right? And I could just look at people, and she's not dumb. But her face and the way her eyes are, she's probably 110, 115 IQ. So she's not super smart, I would imagine, but she's not she's not slow, right? I'm sure she's a nice lady. And it would have been nice. It would have been nice if she would have got married and had babies. That probably would have worked out better for her than her doctorate. So what she got her doctorate in, just so you guys understand this, is she did her thesis on basically why when certain races have different odors and you object to that, literally, that makes you racist. And so she did a whole thesis on that. So like when you smell other races that stink, and if you find that objectionable, that shows you're really a racist. That's her thesis. That's why she got her PhD. And of course, a lot of word salad, bullshit, and all that. And this isn't new. If you've ever followed Z-Man, I love Z-Man. He sometimes does his, what he calls Zero science. And that's kind of making fun of these women. They get their PhD because they do their dissertations on just nonsense, bullshit stuff. In this case, a lady did it on other ethnic groups that smell, and if you object to it, why that makes you a racist, right? So PhD, doctor. This is a problem. And this guy said, she just got the ultimate bullshit degree, a PhD, why describing smells as racist. And again, I'm not picking on this lady. I'm sure she may be a very nice woman. I have no idea. So, no, I don't want to see anything bad happen to her or anything like that. But we shouldn't be giving out PhDs about why when you find certain groups of people to stink, which I can think of, that makes you racist. We don't need that. That's just not what we need for PhDs. But she's not alone. There's a lot of these people that do this. Dr. Jill did the same thing. They write some bullshit thesis that doesn't mean anything. No one reads. Every thesis gets passed, by the way, because it's a circle jerk. It's all a joke. I have a good friend, by the way, that's in the university system. He is a brilliant man. And he's talked about how all this peer review is a joke because it's more of, oh, well, yeah, I don't want to be rough on my peer review of you because then I got to submit my work to you. So it's a circle jerk, right? So I read the abstract for you is full of bullshit language, unnecessary big words, and pretentious structure. Yeah, this is what they do. If you ever read these, they're really interesting because they're gibberish. They really are, but they try to sound like they're intelligent because really what they're saying is profoundly stupid. I mean, it is saying that it's racist to don't like people because they stink. See, I just said that. You don't need to write a whole paper about it. But, you know, they got to fill something up. And so they write in a way that's very poor writing. And most of these people really can't write very well at all because if you're going to be a good writer, the purpose of writing is to communicate thoughts to you. And I'm not saying sometimes thoughts are more complicated, so you got to use more complicated words. I'm not trying to say dumb everything down, to like a primary school education, but you should write clear and not try to word salad everything. Kamala was big on the word salad type stuff. So I will. Her thesis is basically, if you say someone stinks, people like them less. And this guy said, well, you know that from watching cartoons when we were 4. And so remember this when they tell you women are beating men at getting an education. And don't forget to call her doctor. Yeah. And again, this is just how it's become a scam, the whole university system. A lot of these people, they got huge student loans. And so you did your thesis and you got your doctorate on why people don't tend to like people that smell. So that makes you racist. And then you can't really get a real job. So you're working at Starbucks, right? And then they want to get rid of their student loans. Because it's not fair. I got a doctor's degree, damn it. I'm important. I should have a good job. This is a huge, huge problem we have with that. All right, let me check the rant I got. So thank you. This fits into your credentialism topic, Rams. Thank you. This is Brana Wu. Let's look at this. Brana Wu. My hottest take is I don't think a massive number of people in academia are that smart, which is why they're unemployable elsewhere. That's true. Again, because they allow everyone into college now. And sometimes I think, 'cause I don't like to say things about people I know in real life, and I don't want to hurt feelings, but I think I'm safe to say this. I'm not going to say names. But I ran into this nice young woman, a college student. I won't say which university, but, not just a community college, a real university. And we have game night, and, we're playing Axis and Allies about World War II. And she didn't know what side Germany was on in World War II. Were we on the same side as Germany or not? This is someone that's in college, right? Higher learning. Okay? This isn't a story I'm making up, and I'm not going to say names, but this is a true story. And I'm not saying the person's dumb, but this is the level of education we have that gets you into college now. So you could literally be in college and not know which countries fought in World War II, and not understand the 3 branches of the United States government, not understand what the Electoral College is, not know who Thomas Jefferson was. I'm not joking. You can be in college and probably get a PhD and not know these things. And furthermore, a lot of these people, I saw this even later when I was a manager, they can no longer write. Thank God for AI writing now, because a lot of these people, they can't compose a paragraph or a sentence, and they have college degrees. Just saying. And there's really brilliant people that go out of colleges. I know some brilliant people. This one man I know, he's a brilliant in the physicist, and a brilliant guy. So there are very smart people. So I'm not saying everyone's dumb in college, but there's a lot of dumb people in college now. And so we have all these women in college now. Oh, women are doing better than men now. No, they're just put in because of DEI. And a lot of these girls are quite nice, but they probably shouldn't be there. I think it's become very pedantic people that learn a ritualistic way of communicating that sounds smart. But if you examine it, all it does is inflate weak ideas. And this is true. I saw this thing on YouTube, this college professor, I think it was in Australia. And he was talking about a lot of the students, he took them out in the field. He was like a biologist. And they have no interest or no curiosity of actually observing what they see and writing it down and applying it. They just want to know the answers to the test. That's all they want to know. They don't really even care if it's true. There's no curiosities like, oh, I read this in the textbook. Am I observing this though when I go in the field or not? See, that's the creative mind really starts to think that way. They have no interest at all in that. And don't get me involved with some groups like Indians, where it's this massive, massive cheating on tests. Again, I know a woman that's a doctor in Canada. She said massive cheating like the Indians do, where they pass the tests around. It's just part of their culture. It's all so fraudulent now. They become so focused on minor details, they're unable to connect it to any larger narrative. Everything about their lives becomes missing the forest for the trees. Ah, that's very true. And it's all about, what's the right answer? That's all I want. And I guess it's kind of funny if you're in high school. It's like the teacher's talking about something. You're like, do I have to know this? Is this going to be on the test? Otherwise, I'm not interested in learning it. And so then it becomes this memorization or trying to cheat. So yeah, that is a huge problem. Dylan, how many push-ups can you do? Max bench, max pull-up. Are you weak? Yeah, I'm probably weak. I probably can't do a lot. So I don't know how much I can do. So thank you for that, Dylan. Let's see here. Guys, thank you for that. So we're if you're new to the show, RAMZPAUL, I've kind of changed the format because I wanted to make it fun. For me, so I go over 5 topics in the show. And so we did Hunter Biden, civilization breakdown, Bratty Kids, and all these stupid college degrees. And again, I'm sure the lady's nice. And she's probably proud of what she did. But it really struck a chord with a lot of people. Like, why are we spending this much money? She's probably spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on this nonsense. And it really shows we have huge reform needs to happen in the universities. And again, it's not a one-off case. I'm sure she's a nice girl. This is systemic throughout the system that we need to fix. All right. The next thing, what else do I have? Oh, men and simping. Simping. Here we go. Yeah, let me see here. And this is a girl that made $43 million in a year. And as this guy said, I don't really get it. I don't think she's that attractive. She's got that big butt. I don't really like big butts like that. Her thighs are pretty thick. I mean, she's not a horrible looking girl, but I really don't get the appeal. $43 million. And I saw a stat, and I don't know if this is true. I hope it's not true. But 50% of all men have an OnlyFans account. Guys, don't do that. I don't even understand it. Maybe it's because I'm older. Because isn't porn free? Like if you told me the whole OnlyFans model years ago, I would have been horrible because I would have said, this is a bad business model because you expect people to pay girls to get naked, but you could see naked women free on the internet, right? So I've heard. Not that I've never looked. I've gone to Sears.com lingerie section when I was a young kid. That was your porn when you were like just getting through puberty as a boy. I don't know if you guys did that, but yeah, the Sears catalog, the bra section. Hey, it was still hotter than most of porn you see now. So disgusting. But I don't understand why you need to pay for it. And is it because you're paying because you want a fantasy the girl likes you and she's like a pretend girlfriend? You know how pathetic that is? I mean, I have more respect for a man that literally has sex with a prostitute than has an OnlyFans. And I don't advocate sex with a prostitute. I think that's kind of gross. I don't, you got to have, guys, have self-respect. Don't have sex with a woman that you have to pay for. That's just embarrassing. I wouldn't want to be with such a woman. They should want to be with you. You shouldn't be running around throwing money at them. And I will defend women in a lot of ways here. And women have a lot of issues, but men are really not all, but fucking boring and pathetic. Not all, but they really are. And I don't really blame a lot of women because so many men, they're so desperate for women that when anyone gives them any interest, they just go into stalker mode, telling the girl how beautiful she is and how in love they are and how they just have to be with them. What is it with guys today that act like that act like pussy bitches? I'm not like, as Dylan said, I'm not like the most macho guy. But when I was raised, you just don't act that way. That's just embarrassing. But all these guys, grown men, they act like little bitches. Just, oh, I just love you so much. How come you're not texting me back right away? I just feel so sad without you. And you're just my everything. Oh, did I tell you how beautiful you are? Oh, I love you. Oh, can you just post some more? You know, whoever it is, Mary. Oh, you're just so gorgeous and hot. My God. My God. Do you have like no self-respect? And I'll give you a free piece of advice. Take it for what you want. Maybe you sound full of shit. But the more you do that shit with women, the more they're like, ew, gross. Right? So if you do that shit with women, like online and stuff, they despise you. They look at you weak and gross. They're happy to take your money, but they're like, ugh. And I don't blame them because I can see their point of view. That would be disgusting to have to see that behavior from men because women, when they fantasize about men, they don't fantasize about little worms saying stuff like that. They really don't. And so if you're in that mode, it's just really pathetic. Basically, you shouldn't be, if you're not fucking a girl, you shouldn't be giving her money. That's an old rule, but it's true. And so it's like, what's up with that, right? And a lot of guys, they're such easy marks, and women, they can just play them along. They don't even give anything in return, and the guy's just showering them with money. And in hopes that the girl will finally like him. Newsflash, they won't. They hate you. They think you're pathetic. Don't do that. Just don't do that. Never have an OnlyFans. Never. Never run out in public on Twitter telling some girl she's so beautiful and hot. Stop that bullshit. You're not the first one to tell her that, right? If she's young or pretty, she gets that a million times a day. If you say that, you're not being unique. You're just looking like all the other guys. You're looking pathetic. It's just embarrassing to see this sort of behavior. And the fact that guys would give this girl $43 million a year, a girl that honestly, I look at as mid. I've seen a lot prettier girls than this. I've dated a lot prettier girls than her. So it's like, I don't understand it. And people, they won't take my advice. So whatever. So go around, tell women how beautiful they are and all this. Give them your money. But don't expect when they treat you like shit, because that's what they will. It's really embarrassing. So we got this whole simp culture that is just... Oh, and Sasha and I were watching the other day. It's cringe, but it's kind of light entertainment in the background. The Golden Bachelorette, where she has all these guys. I know it's reality TV, but all these guys are like my age, And they're just like some big sob fest. They're always crying about something. No one wants that. You're right. Okay, if your parents die, your dog dies, you could cry. But if you're a guy, a woman doesn't want you to see you crying like a little bitch every 5 minutes. And I don't know what it is, but guys do that now. And I honestly don't blame women from despising these guys. I mean, really. Women, I understand why such guys are gross. So, and guys, don't learn from romantic movies how to act towards a woman. It's all fake. It's what women think they like, but in real life, they would be freaked out. And I got into, and women don't even know this, right? And so it's not like they're lying. I got into this big argument with Sasha about the movie Say Anything. John Cusack, I think, was in it. And we watched it. It was one of those like, oh, the girl doesn't like me, so I'm going to go outside her window and play her love song. This was like in the 80s. I'm like, if you fucking did that in real life, the guy'd be called a creeper, stalker, and the police would be called, and you'd be arrested. It wouldn't be romantic. So, but women theoretically think that's romantic. But in real life, if you do it, you're going to get the police called on your ass. So don't do shit like that. And it's just pathetic. So men need to man up a little. And by man up, I don't mean doing bench presses. I mean, don't be a little whiny bitch around women, right? So if a woman's not interested in you and doesn't like text you back or anything, just do something else. Go elsewhere. Don't be so pathetic that you just hang on. And don't be simping over a woman telling her how beautiful she is. Are you fucking her? Then you can do it. Otherwise, don't do it. It's just, seriously, it's just words. I'm just telling you guys, it's the way you need to be. But people don't do that. So they get these OnlyFans whores, and they're all whores, right? Because they're giving you sexuality for money. They're whores. And then they're pretending to like you for your money. And it's so sad. They despise you. They end up hating you. They look at you as a pathetic worm, and then you get bitter about women because you think there's some contract because, oh, I tell you you're beautiful. I tell you I need you so much and I love you so much. And oh, I just think you're so special and sweet. Then you have an obligation to like me back. And then when girls don't, then they get all bitter and mad. It's pathetic, really. All right, let's see here. I got one Rowhouse for your next story. This Harrison Smith tweet and reply guy shows it all. Okay, well, let's take a look at this. Is this my next story? Yeah, I did about men and sipping. Okay, yeah, we'll do it my final thing was Nick Fuentes. And I didn't want to cover this necessarily. They did write a essay about him. But boy, that whole thing kind of got off the rails here. And no, I don't think he had sex with Destiny, but I wouldn't be surprised. And that's how bad the situation is. Let's take a look here. The same reason we as individuals went from being edgy teenagers to responsible family men. What's the point of the political movement in perpetual adolescence? Grow, mature, and become more powerful. Yeah, I get it. There's nothing wrong being trolly, and it can be funny, and believe me, women can be annoying, and I hate feminism as much as the next guy. But women aren't the enemy. Women have a nature that they've had for at least 10,000 years. You're not going to change it. If you ever read the ancient Greeks and Romans, really, women haven't changed. And so if you're upset that they act like women, I'm sorry for you, but that's how they are. But they're not the enemy. And it really just became a very kind of a cringe spot, that whole thing got involved with. I've always preached, if you're going to have a political movement, and this is why I was so excited when Nick first really broke away from the alt-right, because the alt-right, when it first started, it was more like paleo conservatism. Let's, keep manufacturing in the United States. Let's not discriminate against white people. We have a right to life too and self-determination. Let's have more traditional values. The whole 9 yards, right? We don't want all this LGBTQ stuff. I could go down the line. We don't want to tolerate crime. Just because you're black doesn't mean we should let you go free. That was kind of the old alt-right. And let's put America first, not Israel. And this is all topics people could get behind. All of a sudden, I was making traction, and Andrew Anglin showed up with a guy named Mike Delaney. That's a whole different story, too, by the way. They had a website called Total Fascism. And just a year before, Anglin was real anti-white, saying they should be bred out of existence. Interesting story, how they were being funded by crypto back then. Interesting. But they came in, and they decided out of nowhere, oh, no. The alt-right is all about Nazism, swastikas, and that guy Weave, he's a Jewish guy, but he pretended he wasn't. He sent those faxes to colleges saying we want to attack women of color and molest them and kill. I mean, it's just horrible stuff, he said. This is what we stand for. So this is the message they put out. And Richard Spencer was originally an eloquent guy. He was always a pompous ass, but, he's pretty intelligent, good speaker. But then he wanted to be edgy with these guys, and it went down the line, and you had Matt Heimbach, the cuck box. I mean, I won't go through all that. So Nick Fuentes, we got to get out of this. We got to have optics. And I'm like, character's more important than optics, but okay. So it's like, we don't want any fat people. Like, it's okay if they're fat, I don't care. But let's get rid of the Nazism and all that. I'm like, yeah, I agree with you. That's a good thing. So I was pretty excited. But then, it all fell apart. Ended up with Kanye and, the whole 9 yards there. It's just sad what happened. And then it became such a weirdo thing of like sex with women is gay. And if you love your wife, that's horrible. You're a simp. When I don't know how you align that with Catholicism. Right? Christianity, the Apostle Paul says we're supposed to love our wives like Christ loved the church. So there's this weird, like, women are gross. We have to put up with them because they make babies. But, you just got to grin and bear it. So you got to get a woman. It's gross, it's icky, but have sex with her real quick so you get pregnant. And then you don't have to have sex with her again until it's time to make another baby. You can hang out with your bro friends and watch Euphoria or whatever about transgender stuff. It just became weird. And that's a problem that if you're going to have a quote movement, and I hate the term movement, you got to be kind of normal because people want normal people. And most normal people, they don't really, it's fun to bitch on women bitch about men. It's always going to be that way. And believe me, a lot of women are crazy bitches. I could give you stories. Believe me. But it's just not healthy to have like this war against women, just like these psycho feminists, right? Had this idea of, any sex with a woman, with a man, that's rape because women can't, in a patriarchal society, women can't consent. That was literally one of their theses. And, we thought that was so crazy, but now we have these guys are the equivalent, the opposite. They're like, oh, no, you can't use the horseshoe theory. But it's kind of true. It's just bizarre. So if you got to reach people, the first thing you need to be is like somewhat normal. And I'm saying somewhat. We all have our quirks. Believe me, I'm not like totally normal and everything. But you got to, you can't add offense to it, right? Because if you come across this way, it could come across as edgy and funny, and people can laugh about it. Okay, if your goal is to get content and make money that way, maybe that's your thing. But if you're for a serious political movement, you got to be able to attract like normal people. And it started the whole America First movement to start like with America First, and you had like Marjorie Taylor Greene, Paul Gosar. They all ended up disavowing it because it became very strange. It just became focused on weird issues and it just stuff that it doesn't like, oh, people live in the South, or I just can't stand hillbillies, or oh, blue collar workers, we don't want to be around them, and oh, we like to hang around cute little guys. It's like, what? This is strange, and this isn't. If you're gonna, who like Trump appeals to, or if you want to have a mass movement, I would think you'd have your best luck with like rural men, people that work on HVAC and all sorts of men, some rich, some middle class, some blue collar, some farmers. But it just took this very weird, and I hate to say it, but gay turn. There's no other way to say it. It's this stuff that normal straight guys don't do, right? Oh, I just want to look cute. It's just, it really took a strange turn. And it's really sad what happened there. And he has his whole followers, kind of like Daily Stormer did. They're really just insane. And some of it may be funded by NGOs. I wouldn't be surprised. I would like to see really what the government, the FBI is doing with shit like this to try to poison the well. But it's really sad what happened in that whole sphere there. So, and there's a lot of good people that have never really gone nuts. American Renaissance, I remember Jared Taylor. That's the guy that all these years, he's just a genuine man, a kind man. You could, and probably the reason they keep him off X, because he's just so relatable and not, he's not going to, I don't think, do anything ever since I've known him to start doing, pretending he's in the SS or doing something, pretending he's a Roman emperor. We had one of those. Remember that guy? I'm a Roman emperor, the eternal sun god. I'm Richard Spencer's right-hand man. I cut the throats of goats and drink goat blood. It's like, dude, what the fuck? Just be kind of normal. But now we get all these, it's just the weirdest thing. It always goes in that direction. And then, and don't get me wrong, the left does that too. They just get into a weird spiral with their, they mostly got into it like Antifa with their transgenderism stuff and weirdos into animals and furries. And I mean, it's just, unfortunately, sometimes bleeding edge politics attracts some strange people. And that's unfortunate what happens there. Let's see here. Dylan, peace and prosperity be upon you. I have a special prayer for you. Do shit like that. You do shit like that. Thank you. Well, thank you for your prayers. I do appreciate that in all honesty. And it's been a fun show tonight. I like this new format, and I'm going to continue with it. So this says Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, I'm going to do the show, but I'm going to have like 5 topics. I'll post them. So if you're like, I don't want to hear these topics, you don't have to come. Because I like to go more in depth in the topics. The old way I was doing it, and it was okay, but I honestly got tired of it. I was just going through the news of the day and giving my comments. I'm like, well, this, I don't know. I was just bored with it. And so I like to get in deeper on these topics. And when I have 5, I can kind of drill in a little better. If I deal with 30 topics, I just have to, and a lot of it, I don't really care. Like, oh, look who's a new Surgeon General. It's a useless position. I don't care. All right. I back what Billy Curico says. Could do 1 show per week, be during the day, just 1 per week. It was great for a lunch break. Yeah, I may do 1 during the day. I'm going to rethink a lot of this. And on Wednesdays, I'm going to try to reboot Happy Homelands. We will see. I think I'll have a great guest lined up. So we will see. So that's going to be fun because I like to banter with someone else. I do that with Sasha. I would do shows with her all the time because she's really great. She's smart and she has insights. She doesn't give a shit what people think. She's pretty blunt. And, so she doesn't try to fit into the trad thing or anything like that. She doesn't hate that. She's just her own person. And it's fun to us bantering back and forth. And we agree on most things, disagree on a few things. But it's good to have other people to banter off of too. So, Rowhouse, far left, anti-fa and far right gropers make you want to take a shower. In real life, think of people you want to be around. Why is politics any different? Be around people you want to be around. Some of it's an online thing, to be honest, because when you go to like when I went to American Renaissance, everyone, you're not like an American Renaissance having a drink and someone is, Boomer, why don't you name them? You don't get that. But you get that online. And there's a lot of fake stuff online. Let's just put it that way. And I'm not sure if there's a lot of stuff that's AstroTurf. And I've always said, I think it's been a long history. The FBI and groups like the ADL, SPLC, they have funded people on the right to try to poison the well, to try to make something look goofy. It's a strategy. And I'm not saying everyone is involved with that, but it does happen. So you just got to look how much of this is legitimate, how much of it, people in Virginia and the FBI, they have millions of cell phones up trying to push a meme. There's a lot of weird things that go on. I'd like to see Trump actually get through all that and look what's really happening. So, yeah. But yeah, just, and again, we're all different. We all have our quirks. So it's not like you have to be, just totally normal. I mean, Sasha has her quirks. I have mine. And I that's okay. I think that's okay. So I'm not against Nick. I hope he can. I don't know what happened ever since January 6th. I don't know if because he was instigating people going to the Capitol. I'm not sure why they didn't charge him, because they charged other people doing less than that. So suspicious. Did he take a deal? And is he having to be like an asset now pushing these points? Because it seems like the old Nick was about optics and wouldn't be doing this stuff. So it's really strange. I hope he can come back though, and understand that, women aren't necessarily that gross. They're not, I mean, women can be crazy. They are, but they're necessary here. All right. I am still going to end though. So I got through my 5 topics, huh? That was pretty good. My 5 topics, as a reminder, were Hunter Biden, Bratty Kids, the Credentialism, men simping, and Nick Fuentes. And we'll end with just something cute. I always like dogs, so I get a lot of dog videos. And this is I think is this a border collie? They're really good at hurting. Look at her hurt these ducks. Aw, I just love dogs like that. Look how well trained that dog is, based on whistles and stuff. That is pretty cool. Is that a border collie? Yeah, it's a border collie. They're one of the more intelligent dogs. We have our friend Dave has Australian Shepherd. They're really smart dogs too. They're bred or herd. And you learn about dogs, and dogs are all dogs, but different breeds have way different abilities and natures, just like humans do. It's kind of funny. It's kind of a race realism you see in animals. Dude, no joke. Music has power. It does, Dylan. Music is a very powerful thing, and it's something that we definitely should use. It inspires people. And thank you so much, guys, for being here. And again, be here tomorrow night, and I'll have 5 more topics. And then Wednesday, I hope to do like a happy homeland. So I hope to have another person on, and we'll just shoot the shit. And then Thursday, and then Friday, hopefully we'll do night owls. I like doing night owls with Sasha. That's a lot of fun too. And I hope to do my essays and do my little short videos. So busy time, but good time. Plus I'm trying to get caught up, get all my Christmas shopping done. It's great to see you guys. I really love seeing you. Thank you for being here. And I will talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.